Welcome back to another video. Today we are at the Reading Railroad Museum in Hamburg, Pennsylvania. I am joined today with Nick from Nixcrossing, Jay from JPVideos, Randy from Emerald Sound Productions, Jamie Makin, and obviously myself. We decided to come out, actually we planned this like a month ago or so, to come out here and check out the museum and what it has to offer for your viewing pleasure, I guess you could say. There is a good bit of history here with Reading Railroad history. Not Reading and Northern to be confused between the two, but this is original Reading Railroad history here. Every piece in this yard, with the exception of two, are original Reading pieces. So there were some pieces that were sold off after acquired, you know, from, there's a CSX unit that was originally a Reading unit and then became CSX, and now it's back as it's still in CSX, but it's going to get restored back to the original Reading livery once they can get the funds to do that. So they also have a turntable that they're talking about. They want to put that inside the museum at a period of time where they can put it indoors with the funding and stuff like that. So you'll get to see that on this tour that we're going to take, that you're going to see coming up right now. It's kind of hot today. We're all kind of sweltering heat today up here in Pennsylvania. Nice thing about this area is, one, you got the beautiful mountains around you. So you got Pottsville's up that way. Like I said, being in Hamburg, Cabela's is right up over here behind my head. It's up that direction. Frackville, all that, you know, the coal region's up that way. And then obviously behind us, that would be towards Reading and York and Maryland, and all that is down that direction. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the guided tour and show you what that has to offer. And then after that, we're going to take a walk inside and take a look at what's inside. They do have a gift shop here. They do have some train stuff like HO scale, N scale. I think there is some Lionel. I did see one thing in there anyway. Shirts, hats, you know, things of that nature. So there is books, plenty of books, magazines, things like that. So we'll take a walk around that and show you what's in there as well. So stay tuned.
An impact far beyond its size, and few railroads ever provide such a variety of civilian operations in such.
Alright, so myself, Jamie, and Nick just finished up the video inside the little theater area. Now we're finally making our way into the museum part, and as you can see behind me already, there is a station agent's office and a lot of other different artifacts around the room here.
And that's when I talk a little bit about the freight cars. And oh my gosh, the freight cars, you can clearly see that on the railroad or anything else, form follows the function. In other words, the form that a particular freight car or a engine takes follows its intended function. First example I always point out is the passenger car. What was that passenger car?
Cattle.
Cattle, right. That's what it was for, carrying cattle. No, carrying passengers. And obviously, you know, it's got chairs, all that good stuff. Car behind it, the Reading and Northern car behind it, that is an open top hopper. And it's called a hopper car because a hopper car is loaded from the top and unloaded from the bottom. And you can see there are the hoppers right there. They are called hoppers, okay, and then that's open top hopper, and that's used to carry coal and stone and things that don't need to be protected from the environment. The car behind it was at one time a open top hopper used to carry coal, but the Reading put a top on it, and it finished its life out after the Reading put the top on, carrying cocoa beans from Port Richmond to the Hershey plant up here in Hershey. But it's still loaded from the top. You can see the hatches on the top, and it's offloaded from the bottom. Okay, behind that, now hopper cars, especially the coal cars, They were very useful when everyone burned anthracite coal, because a town like, let's say, Hamburg had 2 or 3 coal dealers in it, but they all had trestles, and they would take the car, push the car up onto the trestle, and offload the coal that way, all down through, and then trucks would pick up smaller loads of it to deliver to houses. First generation diesel locomotive, okay? Who can tell me where the front of the engine is? What?
Long hood forward. That's the F.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, for the F, yeah. You'll find every engine has an F on it. That's an FRA rule, federal regulation. This engine, the F is on this side. Now, long hood forward, someone mentioned, Norfolk and Western operated long hood forward for many, 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 many years. Hold up the signals. So they were quite used to operating long hood forward. And they thought, yeah, and that's important to remember. These are EMD locomotives.
Is this what they have up by you?
Yeah. But we will see a model of every diesel locomotive builder that the Reading. This also has 1,500 horsepower, and these were the only passenger locomotives that the Reading owned. Exclusively passenger locomotives that the Reading owned. The back door contains a steam generator unit, which generated heat and electricity for the following passenger cars. Prior to that, when they had steam engines, they would just run them piping down from the steam engine to the passenger cars. But the railroads thought this was the cheaper way to go, and this is why it has that extra door on it. This also has 1,500 horsepower and was geared to do 89 miles an hour, which back in the late 50s,
that was a good amount, yeah.
That's pretty fast.
That is.
Yep.
That's about what the Phoebe Snow ran across the Jersey Cutoff.
Oh, I've seen the Phoebe Snow.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Oh, nice.
It is really, yeah.
I've gotten to eat in one of the dining cars, one of the original dining cars.
Really? Now, where were you when you ate in the dining car?
Steamtown.
Steamtown, yes.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
That was Railfest in 2019. Or no, I'm sorry.
2017.
Yeah, 2019. They had it open in 2019 at Railfest, and then we also did a YouTuber meetup where our host rented the entire car, so we all got to.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was neat. Yeah, stationary, but still, it just gave you that full effect of. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Like I was just literally just sitting there, like
dining on train,
trying to make it seem like we're moving.
Why did Reading put RSC-14 on?
That was their own classification.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a GP30.
This is GP30. This was the first GP30 ever made.
All right, so this is quite interesting. We just found out that this was the first GP30 ever made, and it's here at the Reading Museum. That is cool.
The interesting thing about this is that this is also all that was as the influence of the automotive division. This is in really bad shape, and it was used in a mining company up in Canada. But originally it was a Reading engine, so they donated it back to us. This car is the LEM 2, and the LEM 2 stands for Locomotive Engineers Mobile Training Unit. Used to be the president's car. I think that's in the Railcar Preservation Building, and that is another car that if you ever have a chance, and one's made out of wood, and it was made in 1942. The roofs we're going to go into was made in 1936, and you can see it's a lot different from this. But it was made out of wood to save the metal for the war effort. The other reason why I stopped at this caboose is for here.
It's got hot boxes.
Journal box.
That is your journal box, right? Yes.
Your fire starter.
Mm-hmm.
Hand warmer.
Hand warmer. Now, I'll tell you a hand signal for this is It's not that bad.
How's that go again?
All right, let's see the hand signals. Here's the hand signals. Okay. Hand signal for a hot journal box by day is this. What's the guy doing?
Smoking a cigarette.
No, he's holding his nose.
PU.
Right, because they stunk.
PU.
And that's what the cupola up top was for on the caboose, and we'll see that when we get that. Two guys sat up there, and two of the rear brakemen sat up there and kept a lookout for a hot journal box. Because inside this is there's a brass fitting, but there'll be a rag, and the rag is soaked in grease, and that's what keeps that lubricated. When that does not, when the grease gets all burned off, it can heat up and break the axle, and then you close the derailment.
What year is this one built?
1942.
42.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
1942.
right in the center.
Yeah.
I see these all the time where I work.
Really?
They do nothing good. Oh, I see them all the time.
That was a Ian Fisher Phillips and Phoenix.
Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Reading trailers. All right, so he was just mentioning that this CSX engine was a X Reading unit and was being a GP39-2. This was the last of the new engines that Reading bought before they went out. So this one became a CSX unit, and they've acquired it back here to the museum. All right, so some of the other things I've noticed here too, you can see in the paint here in the yellow where the light used to be on the nose right there, where they welded it, took it off and cut it and ground it down, and then it has the ditch lights on it, and it also had positive train control on the top, which they had to disconnect it to be able to run it in the yard here. It wouldn't run in the yard because it has the PTC on it.
Gotcha. Pull from the water. This one has no baffle in it, and it was used for fire suppression. It was just one big tank, and they would mount the hoses on either corner and just run the train down the track.
You really have me baffled now.
I call, yeah, that's what I call the Dixie Cup.
Okay, where was the original Pennsylvania one?
Coming back out the film again.
Yeah.
The old Pennsylvania Road.
All right, so we do have some RDCs that are in running condition over here that they're working on trying to get them where they can actually use them in passenger service for like excursions for the museum and stuff like that, but there's like some insurance issues, but they could probably work something out with Reading and Northern with Andy Muller to be able to run them on his track. So that's in the works. There's a possibility of future excursions on those, so stay tuned for that in the future. Whew. Caboose.
Is the sleeping section, and the sleeping section is for the crew to sleep, to get their 8 hours of sleep. Because back in the day, you work 16 hours, and there was a 6-man crew, 3 men in the front, 3 men in the back. And at the end of 16 hours, they pull drop dead call. That's it. You didn't work anymore, and that's a federal regulation. You did not work anymore. So 8 hours of rest would have to be somewhere in here. You know, this is where they would sleep for their 8 hours of rest. For example, if you're in Armpit, Pennsylvania, and you just ran out of your 16 hours, you got to stop the train and come back here. This is the working section. There's 4 benches up here. They're not here now. and we put a few benches back, but this is where the brakemen, the two rear brakemen sat and looked out over the train as it was rolling down the tracks, checking for hot boxes and what have you. Back here where all the tools are, and there used to be a rag here that very clear. Very close. Yeah, it does move.
Nick, you're rocking the boat.
Which very clearly showed that what kind of rag that they used, and was also a handy dandy Texaco hot box repair kit, which consisted of blocks of grease, and that's what they did. If there was a hot box detected, one rear brakeman would walk a mile back, put a torpedo on the track for any trains coming. Another one would walk up this side, and the head brakeman would walk down that side looking for the hot box. When they would pull that thing open, take out the rag, which was on fire. And over here was where the conductor sat. This was his office. And he would fill out one of these cards, a waybill for each and every car that he had in his consist. And he would also fill out a card, for an empty car. And a bad order car, he would fill out 2 cards for that, and a couple of other things. But he also, his really important job is he would keep an eye on the air pressure of here in the back, the rear car, and it should be between 70 and 90. If it went below that, he had to find out why it went below that, probably because of a hose coming apart. Or if it went above that, he had to find out why it was too high. All that is well and good. They got rid of the cabooses. And they got rid of the cabooses and replaced them with
Fred.
Fred. Right. A flashing rear end detector.
Yep.
And what Fred would do is Fred would sit in the last coupler of the last car and hook into the air brake system. And then through that radio there, he would transmit to the engineer the constant, I have no idea, the constant air pressure of the car.
So this was the sleeping quarters back here.
That will,
Looks like your typical hotel. Nice stains on the pillow.
Yes.
Nice.
That's a question somebody
Is that one right up the track?
Absolutely.
You got the back veranda. Whew, a little soft on the back here. What we got over here? So this was old PRR line going right through here. We found out. We got a boxcar back here. Looks like just bare metal. It's all a different color there. Thought I saw a different color there. Ooh, look, there's clothes in the closet. Huh, shoes and everything. Wow, look at that. Suitcases. That's pretty accurate. Hats. Yeah. And then there's a bathroom in here.
That's great.
Oh, maybe not. There's a hard hat. I guess there's bathrooms over here.
36, I believe it is, yeah.
Nope, more closets, but more clothes. Huh.
36, yeah. Yeah, 36.
Extra blankets, gloves.
Oh, God. Right, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is a Reading design, and it's called the Northeast design because all the railroads adopted it.
Okay.
Yeah, this the type of caboose that you see here. This one, I think, is a window caboose, and it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all steel.
Yeah.
The Roman Nicholas or
supplies.
was it like that from steel? This
What
okay.
kind of treasure?
Okay.
blocks. Flat hands. For the pad.
All kinds of good goodies. So which one's the bathroom? I didn't see the bathroom yet. Oh look, animal crackers.
Bathroom's all the way in the back.
Yeah, the bathroom's all the way in the back.
Out the back door?
Office here.
No.
Drinking
Open
water,
up one of those.
non-potable.
Oh, it's got a face. The anonymous mask.
In,
Hey.
1948.
Hey, look. Here's the back.
4,200 pounds.
Wow.
This is a slug.
Yeah.
And there's no engine in there and no cab. And the inside is filled with sand.
Wow.
The only thing this has on it are traction motors, so that if you hooked up a diesel locomotive that had 4 traction motors on it, this has 6 traction motors and you have 10 traction motors. But it's taking all its fuel and electricity off of the original capacitor. That's why I call it a slave unit. Reason why we have it, and this is not a Reading engine originally. This was up in Allentown Yard and Norfolk Southern donated to us because the Reading scrapped all the Fairbanks Mills. They were fabulous locomotives, fabulous. 4,200 horsepower in 1948. Jeez. The problem was because they were diametrically opposed piston engines. They were maintenance nightmares. You had to pull the whole engine off to do anything. And so the Reading scrapped them. I remember seeing them as a kid, and they pulled passenger trains. They were relegated. They're not designed for that. They were designed for freight trains, but they were relegated to passenger trains. But again, Fairbanks Morse, by the way, is still in business.
Yeah.
And they made submarine engines during the war, and figured, oh, we got a great engine here. Well, submarine, you got a little more room.
Yeah. All right, so we're kind of doing this in reverse order. So this would be the door that leads to the outside, to the displays outside. So if you come through this little room here, you do have some photographs on the wall of different things of the history of the Reading Railroad. Some of the bridges and structures and stations, like this one station at Phoenixville, which still exists today. I've driven past that quite a few times. North Wales, yep, that's familiar with that. And just some of the old history here. I'm sure, let's see if it lands up Outer Station. This would be Reading Outer Station. I want to see if Lansdale's on here. Bethlehem, Hamburg, North Broad Street in Philadelphia. There's some GP30s, it looks like. And that is Fairmount Park, Philadelphia. I also got some different headlights here. This one's a diesel headlight. That's from a SW1 switcher. Here's a 2115, so that'd be a T1. There's information on the light itself, as well as the steam locomotive bell. There's some different tools and equipment and lights down here too. One of the no trespassing signs, which would be cast. Here is the different locomotives that the Reading had, which may actually be some of the ones that are out here in the yard as well. And diesels. Here you got some of the old signs. These are all wooden signs that would have been throughout the railroad. This is neat. This is a wood pattern for cast iron freight car wheel. And you got a section of steel rail here. This we've seen, this is familiar to us. This is one of the railing holders that you would see on some of the bridges. This one says handrail stanchion from Saucon Creek turntable. Okay, so some of the Reading, old Reading line that we've seen these on, we've showed that to you. Nick has actually pointed that out because he said that's a Reading shape that was exclusive to Reading Railroad. So here's some of the steam locomotives they had. They do have some model train displays as well, which you'll see once we get around here. They do have the Lionel right there, or actually that's a G scale. Here's the Lebanon Valley Junction control tower console. And the old rotary telephone. There's a different style one of them. It's got like a crank on it. So here's the tower, the Lebanon Valley Junction Tower, what it looked like. Oh, here's a mock-up of the T1s, under 2100, so there's 2100 light. Different lamps, railroad lamps. You even have this little kid-sized locomotive here in the middle of the floor. There's one of the caboose stoves. Can't really see it in this light, unfortunately. Here we have 2102 right there, a painting of it, artist rendition. There's a desk with different equipment for the day. It looks like a, I forget what they call these things, but for numbers, kind of like a calculator, but with the printout. Not sure what they call these. Here's a really cool looking rotary phone. There's some of the different coal. Here's a coal car for in mines. Mule driven. Now I'm gonna have to switch to the phone for this. Stand by. So here's a display with some of the different tools and gauges. Along with a pair of F units. Looks to be S gauge maybe? No, that's O gauge, 2 rail O gauge. There you got a T1 2115. More of the gauges and tools here. And you got different pictures on the wall. There's the Crusader. This one's dated 1966. GP30. Here's the HO display. But I guess before we get to that, right over here is some O gauge. Here's 2100. There's some GP35s. Nope. Got Phoebe Snow, Lackawanna car here. Oh, here we go. Here's the 2101 in American Freedom livery and chassis steam special. That's cool. Both on a turntable. This is a oak 3-column horizontal file cabinet. Also got a binder here with some, I forget what you call that, but here we go. Let's take a look at the HO layout. It's really cool. Really cool detail here. And here you got a coal yard. We got a little town set up over here. Complete with row homes and doing some construction work going on right there on that one. Pair of F units sitting here. There's a crane similar to that one that Jay and I did in that live stream that one time in Quakertown. Elevated coal dump right there. Oh, there's a Collards Creek Motor Park and Cabins. And this was way before hotels. Surprised you'd find me here, right?
It's not finding RJ with an HO layout. I would have never in a million years expected that.
Yeah, neither would I.
Very strange. Yeah, you know you gotta explore new things.
I even got a little farm here. Of course, I got a John Deere sitting over there, and no Alice. Coming back around, you got the main entrance with the gift shops in there. You have this area. It has different displays and different cool stuff. Different types of cars on the wall. Some local Luden's, there you go. Luden's Cough Drops was in Reading. I never knew that. That's pretty cool. There you got Hershey Company, Reading Brewery, Mayor's Bread. That's what I was trying to say. Some HO scale cars here. Hosiery forms, textiles, different. This Reading served the hosiery industry. You got some coach seats here with the JPVideos watching a video. Oh yeah, looks. Try it out. Yeah, got some good cushion to it. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, they need that. That's HO scale. Look at that, made by Bethlehem Steel Company. There's all the different Bethlehem Steel stuff. There's some iron ore pellets, employee badge, stainless steel bar carpenter, technology. That's something we should try to do too. Oh, here we go. What's that? Is that Hon? No, that's American La France, but. Huh. Just showing the different ways of
Loading room.
Yep.
Cab over.
Cars. It's an old like 58 Chevy.
TOFC, trailer on fire.
There's a shot of it right there. Different lanterns up here. There's a nice little O-gauge S-bend train here. Ooh. Alright, so I picked the control tower console for my outro here, and I got Nick hovering around me.
Making sure the shot's good.
Yep, he's checking, even though the screen's facing me. It's on selfie mode. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for the look here at the Reading Railroad Museum in Hamburg, PA. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here and would like to subscribe, please do. I definitely appreciate that. And also, there will be links in the description below for the museum. Also, everybody else who was here today, their channels as well. And their hours of operations. So their hours of operations are only on the weekends, but I think they do some special stuff and some special events and private events and things like that. So I'll put their website down in the description below so that you can see that and get any information that you need as well. Fries are done.
Someone else did it. I thought it'd be cool.
It's a good thing it's a museum, you know. Don't touch. Anyway, so again, wanted to thank you for watching. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up again, and we'll catch you in the next one.